Hepinize merhaba tekrardan.
Greetings everyone once again. Our hall is still crowded. This is our last day, third day, but we still have participants. I hope it has been beneficial. Well, we of course had a general assessment, but we would like to know how it was reflected on you. So we've been here for 2.5 days, and we have been discussing the giftedness and talentedness on different aspects. We heard very valuable presentations and contributions, academic researches and studies, and school examples and family-related experiences have been shared, and we heard different perspectives from international experts as well. We had keynote speakers, and I would like to thank all of them one by one. And they've been here for 3 days with us, and thank you indeed for being here, dear foreign participants, and you, local participants. Well, I want to make a bit of difference here. Normally, you would be the closing ceremony would be like, well, we did this, we did that, thank you for the organizers, and let's see each other again in the next meeting. But instead of such a closing ceremony, we want to assess our Congress in terms of its content as well, because we care about the Congress, and we think it's important for the construction of future, and this is one of important milestones in this regard. And we have Minister of Energy outside. He might come in as well, so I will very fastly introduce this to you. The general philosophy, the general principles, together with the, well, our general philosophy was revival with the above ground treasures. And we undertook many studies in this regard. Could we reach our target or not? Well, we're going to talk about that soon. But we wanted our gifted and talented children to attract more attention in Turkey, and we wanted to talk more about the studies and researches conducted in this regard, and the facilities and opportunities for these children. And within the format of our Congress, we of course had keynote speakers, workshop, oral presentations, and poster presentations, and they were quite successful as planned, I can say.
Burada tabii ki bayanları kutluyorum. Bayan katılımcılarımız daha fazla kongremiz.
Well, I would like to congratulate women because we have more female participants than male participants, so congratulations to you, ladies. And we had 5 subtitles, and when we look at the distribution, we analyzed the training and curriculum of the gifted, and this is actually the most highlighted and most focused topic. We also talked about the emotional and social developments of the gifted and talented. And there are more indirect studies than direct studies we have seen. So what are the focuses of the studies? Of course, the research subjects, academic subjects have been analyzed, and we shared all of those in a comprehensive method. So the academic studies and research studies are more, well, I wish we could talk about in-classroom models and the adaptation of those models into Turkey. Well, we would like to see this content more. These are the values. Who is worked on? When we look at the analysis in this regard, there are more studies for students or on students in terms of quality. There are trials and studies targeting students, but of course there are studies on parents or teachers as well, and peers. So who is the target audience of those researches? There are different target audiences again, as shown on the slide. And different target audiences are worked on. I want to skip this. So, in general, we have been working on our subjects for 3 days. We received feedbacks and we had comments from the moderators as well. So we created a final declaration, kind of a final declaration that is going to shed light on our way for the future. The results are shown on the slide, and I can say the decision-making mechanism emphasized those factors. The area of giftedness have been emphasized in Turkey in the last decade, maybe, because we have new departments for the talented and the gifted, and in the last 15-20 years the area of talented students have been a priority. Well, we wanted to have more audience, of course, but we are still young in terms of education of gifted and talented. So yes, this is a new area, and despite that, there is more and more interest in this area. NGOs are there as partners, and the state institutions and organizations are also there as partners. As I said in the beginning, when I first spoke on day one, the NGOs are interested in this subject, but it might be lacking and it might be misguided, but in time it can be reshaped. There are some different NGOs founded for different purposes, and I think their participation into the process can be helpful in general. The education of the gifted. What kind of a training model, what kind of an education model, what should we give at schools, and what kind of curriculums should be provided to the schools? Well, we try to find the answer, of course. We've been looking that in depth. We heard different examples from school, from world, and we had some keynote speakers, and we also talked how we can do what is being done abroad, how we can adapt good practices in Turkey, and national tracking system will be beneficial in terms of helping these children to have a proper career developments. And this is not something that can be done individually or by NGOs. This should be done by the state. Again, unfortunately, within the central organization of our national education, the education of the gifted and talented is not getting the deserved attention. Well, yes, since 1990 there have been centers of art and science, and there have been some steps taken, yes, and there are some steps that are still being taken, but legislative regulations and the organization power is not enough. But we are aware that it's very important to educate the gifted and talented for the future of this country and for the future in general. But we yet can't see all the benefits. Another topic, well, in special education, there is a concept like least restraining, I can say. So the talented kids should be restrained as less as possible, and a kid can be talented, and if they are very talented and developed in their talents, a regular education, typical education program can't suffice them. So maybe we can have a separate and alternative system for such children. Maybe we'll call it the school for the prodigy. I don't know, but we have to have such alternative examples in order not to lose those people. Another national strategy, education of the gifted can benefit the education. If we can redesign the education system, including the gifted and talented children's education, we can unveil the potential of all the individuals actually, and we can just increase the potential and use the potential at maximum. In education, there is a reality. Well, teachers are very vital in education. The more you invest in the students, in the teachers, the better results you can get. Well, you can get good schools, you can construct good schools and have good materials, but if the teacher quality is not good, you cannot get enough results. So teacher training and education of the teachers are really important. Every teacher should have the potential to recognize the individual differences, and they should be able to address everyone in the classroom. We want to do something, and such excitements are required in education as well. We have to focus on the education of the talented and gifted, and we should have an embracing approach. So every teacher, every parent should know the following. The baby I deliver, or the children we bring out the world should be well educated, and they should be aware that they should do their best. This, of course, can be done with a huge enthusiasm and motivation, and we shouldn't ignore it. I told you before, whatever kind of training and education we give, we can have a blend of classrooms, we can have separate classrooms for the gifted, but whatever we decide on, we need content and curriculum for the gifted as well, and we have understood it during this Congress as well. More specifically, all the teachers should increase their activities in the classroom for the gifted. They should share it more, and as they share it, the social synergies will be created and the fruits of the process can be better. Another topic, the teachers of the gifted to work between different disciplines. They should be allocated resources, and the teachers themselves should allocate some of their times for interdisciplinary works within the school system or within the model of teaching gifted. Different stakeholders and shareholders should be brought together, and moreover, assistant teacher model can be quite helpful for the gifted education. This of course means employment. This means resources to be allocated by the state, but maybe private schools or NGOs can start it. Some of them actually have started it. So there are 20-25 students in a classroom. There are individual differences. So in class, enrichments can be quite difficult with 20-25 children in a class with different identities. I'm not a teacher, but I can guess this is how it is.
Evet, dünyada bir sitem trendi var.
Well, STEM has been mentioned a few times here today and yesterday. Well, we have to carry STEM to a better position in Turkey as well, and we should have a mobilization structure for training of science. Dr. Hassan had very important sharings as well about Turkish Islam heritage. Well, we have huge heritage and we have very good resources. These should be taught to children as motivational resources. They should be shared, and simulations and demonstrations of those heritages should be provided.
ilgili çalışmalar yapılması gerekiyor.
Another topic, well, we should work on families as well, and as far as I can see, the country needs a piece of legislation about families first. Families who have gifted children or should be regulated by law as well. Well, there are some laws and regulations for the disabled children's families, but something similar is needed for the gifted children's families as well. So wherever these children are, they should be reached to, and the state should help these families with the education of the gifted child. If you can't do this, well, I guess we cannot guarantee discovery of the talents and gifts. Moreover, The Ministry of National Education needs bigger support, needs to give bigger support to families. Yes, family goes to the school as well, but the families should be supported by different support units. And there should be some different structures for supporting the families at home. Well, I try to summarize it fast without taking too much of your time. Thank you. It has been a very fruitful Congress for me too. And I would like to thank each one of you for your contributions and participation. And moreover, I would like to thank TÜSDEV, TEKDEN, and all the other institutions and organizations, all the contributors. Thanks a lot, and I hope you have a nice day, and hope to see you again in our next Congress.